Right now, I have to stop saying.
Or you could start saying the bad words that we bleep out. No, of course you don't. It's game 2. It is the Stars. It's the Avalanche. We have our full crew in the same city. Mind blow. Sean is here. Sam is here. Well, they're not here. They're over there. And we're going to talk to them with Luds and John and my voice next.
Get ready, boys.
Yes, indeed. We are live. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show, as ready for Game 2 tonight, presented by, and all of our Stanley Cup playoff coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly, and by Happiest Hour. Check out Happiest Hour for the best spot to watch the NHL playoffs. We have a big show tonight. Big pregame, big game, big postgame to follow, and we have the full squad here tonight, and we're all in the same area code for the first time. Yeah, look at those two. Look at this guy. Lutz has got his Moose Mode shirt switched on the on position, and over at American Airlines Center, it is both halves of our writing crew. It's our columnist in Dallas for the first time since DLS began. That's Sean Shapiro. And our beat writer, Sam, who is always cold. I don't know why.
Always.
Hi, guys. Oh, we can't hear Sean.
Here
He's
we
muted
go.
again. How does Sean keep
it
muting his
says,
mic?
It says you're in the green room, so I don't know how to handle that situation.
So Sean is here, but he's not being allowed to
So,
speak.
folks, we'd like to introduce you to Huey and Dewey.
We can hear Sam beautifully.
Sean, you need to enter the studio.
Yeah, we're working on it right now. So, Sam, why don't you talk? We can hear
I
from
can
you.
go first.
Yes. Go first.
Yes. So we'll talk lineup tonight. Jake Andre obviously starts. I spoke to Jake for a little while this morning. He felt like he was really on in that game 1. He just was furious and frustrated with those bounces, just like the rest of the team. Felt like he was tracking the puck really well. And just felt that the team needed kind of a reset here. So he's going to get going again tonight. I expect the same thing from him. In terms of the lineup, we did not get a confirmation, which, as I said last game, will probably be the normal situation going forward with Pizza Boar. But from line rushes, it does look like Colin Blackwell will come in, and Maverick Fork looked like the extra on the forward group. I asked Pete about lineup changes. He actually said that we're probably going to have a couple. So don't know if that actually means we're going to see something else in the warm-up or if he's just using a very broad term. But in terms of lineup, Colin Blackwell comes in. Let's talked about that as a potential change, although we think we talked about it with Oscar Beck. But Blackwell's a veteran guy, experienced penalty killer, brings a lot of the similar things. So look for him to have some jump on that fourth line tonight.
I don't know if we can hear Sean. Should I ask him a question or just keep going with Sam?
I'm diagnosing the Sean issue.
Okay, so we'll keep going with Sam.
diagnosing.
So, Sam, the big news of the day is Landeskog. We are under the impression that Gabriel Landeskog will play his first hockey game in over 1,000 days. 2 years, 9 months, and almost 10 months, 26 days or so, since Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, where Colorado in 2022 beat the Tampa Bay Lightning to win their franchise's third cup. It was a topic. It's been a topic for the last week, but it is especially at a point today because of Ross Colton apparently picking up an injury, and Jared Bednar was not giving up a lot, but he did say some things about Colton and Landeskog.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go for it, Sean.
Hey, Sean's gonna answer.
Yeah, we actually saw him throwing the football in the hallway down outside the Avalanche locker room, which I don't cover the Avalanche on a daily basis, so I don't know if playing catch with a football means you're playing a hockey game or not. But it means you're doing something with your teammates to get ready for the game. And they activated him off LTIR at around 3 o'clock, I believe it was today. And with Landeskog, it's kind of, one of the Avalanche guys was telling me that they didn't really want to call him a healthy scratch, but they also didn't want to rush him. And because of the injury to Colton and everything like that, now they kind of not lose that, but the original thought was they were going to play him in game 3. He was going to start game 3. There was going to be the Ball Arena introduction and everything like that. And because of this, they pushed it forward, and I'm fully expecting him to play tonight. We will learn officially, but I ran into our old pal Andrew Cogliano over earlier today at the rink in Plano watching USA versus Finland in the under-18 pre-tournament. And while Andrew Cogliano works for the Avalanche now, works in player development, he basically gave me the positive nod. He refused to let me say anything, to do anything that would approve or disapprove of Gabriel Landeskog playing, but he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing. So we'll go with that.
Sean, do you have any further development of your thoughts about the Landeskog played 2 AHL games and then took this long before, even if he does play tonight, that's a long recovery between a couple of testing games in the AHL and then playing an NHL game?
Yeah, I do think there's legit fear that he could play one game and it would be done. I mean, while it's a positive story from a Tampa Bay perspective, we all know what happened in the 2020 Stanley Cup final where Steven Stamkos played one game. Now, he scored a goal on that one shift, and it's an iconic moment in Lightning history and sour moment for Stars fans. But that's something where I believe there was legit fear of that happening. And so they didn't want to potentially not rush Landeskog, but they wanted to save it for when they needed it, is kind of my feel on it. This might be his only game. Now, he could be fine and recover well, but he might not be able to play on Wednesday because of tonight. These are all these things that they don't really know with his timeline and his recovery. And I truly believe, while sports are about winning, I really think the Avalanche were targeting game 3 for that emotional postcard type moment of the captain, Gabriel Landeskog, back in the building. And so now it's going to be we'll see here. And if Landeskog, from an Avalanche perspective, they'll hope that he's able to play well enough and look up to speed and still be able to go on Wednesday. So that's kind of how things shook out.
Sam, we usually ask Sean the goaltender questions, but we're going to ask you about Mackenzie Blackwood. Played his first game in the playoffs in game 1, played well. His best save, I thought, was the one on Mason Marchment in the third period, where it could have been a 2-2 hockey game. It was a couple minutes before Devon Taves would score the third goal and effectively win the game. It was not on purpose, Sean. That just came out. But as you look at Blackwood's performance, is this settle the dispute, Sam, of he hasn't played in the playoffs? Are we now saying he can do it? Or are there things that can maybe still sway opinion on the Avalanche goalie?
Yeah, you know what? I watched Mackenzie Blackwood a lot when I was covering the Devils. He's got elite talent. He can be elite, but he had inconsistencies, and that was always the issue with him. He was either hurt or he'd go on a really long stretch and not be able to play at that level. But he would steal games for them once in a while. He would go, 5-0 in a stretch and look incredible. He didn't have to be amazing in that game, but you're right. He made 2 or 3 saves that changed the game. That Marchment one would have tied the game up in the third period. The thing I see with Mackenzie Blackwood is 2 things. One, if you can get on him early, it can change the way he plays the game. He's a very his mental state has been tested in previous games and in previous seasons with the Devils, and teams have gotten on him early and chased him out of the net. Last game, Stars didn't put a ton of pucks early, and he was able to settle in a little bit, ends up stopping all but one shot and getting the win for Colorado. The other thing I see with Blackwood is he's not a goalie who controls rebounds a ton. He's a big goalie, blocker kind of goalie, and he allows a lot of pucks to sit in front of him. And that, if you watch the game back on game 1 on Saturday, there are a ton of pucks sitting around the net. And I was really happy with the way the Stars got to those areas. Ton of scoring chances. Most of their chances actually came from those areas in tight. But if you watch it, you see tons of times with guys in front getting their sticks tied up, just not able to get a stick on those loose pucks over and over again. So I actually wrote about this today. If the Stars can be a little harder on their sticks, or as Lutz loves to talk about, time it up a little bit better and get there at the right time, I think they can get 2 or 3 more goals on Blackwood and gives themselves obviously a far better chance of winning the game.
And Sean, the result in tonight is pretty important. It's not the end all. We've seen the Stars lose 2 at home and still win a series, but this feels like a pretty important game tonight for Dallas.
It's pretty big to allow. For me, one of the biggest things about this game is it allows you to not be in a spot where you're making rash decisions about Miro Heiskanen and his knee. Honestly, like, to me, if they're down 2-0, all of a sudden you're going to Colorado for game 3 and you're looking at, hey, we have to make the hockey decision on his knee. And I think winning tonight, I would love to see Miro in the lineup on Wednesday night, no matter what. But I think if they lose this game and they're down 0-2, there becomes an air of urgency, and are you putting that knee at further risk? I think there is you win this game and you're back to making the proper health medical decision that is not going to potentially do something worse. So this is a big one for, I know, the series, but to me, that's one of the bigger things. Like, I was talking to someone else about it. It's for a Dallas connection. I believe it was, someone was telling me a story about how there was early in Dirk Nowitzki's career, he was playing there was a series where he had the knee injury and the Mavericks did not rush him back to play. And some people thought that was the poor decision. And I believe it was Don Nelson, the GM at the time, said, we're not going to waste this guy as an asset for the long term. So I think this is a big one for, honestly, Miro's knee. Like, you just want that knee to be not pushed too far. So I know we're talking about a series, but there's long-term things at play for the future of this team.
And finally, Sam, the long-term future of the Dallas Stars involves Mikko Rantanen, but a lot of fans are hoping that he shows his worth in this series. How much pressure are the Stars looking at, or hoping that Rantanen can step up and show out the way we've been talking about it?
Yeah, I think Pete DeBoer said it great. He's obviously been asked a lot about it. Everyone's been asked about it. That's a huge storyline in this series with him coming back against his former team. It'll be even bigger storyline when we talk on Wednesday from Denver. But the thing with Rantanen is he's got every excuse in the book, right? He's a professional athlete. You expect him to overcome a lot, but he had so much go on this year, so much criticism, many moves, so much developing, trying to get used to a different team, and then all of a sudden you're flipping and you're jumping on a different team. Then now you're going back to Colorado. It's just been a chaotic year for him. And once in a while, you got to step back and look at the human and understand that it's going to take time. And then you look at his stats, and he's still got like a point a game with Dallas. So if this is Mikko Rantanen struggling or, not adjusting fully, I think the Stars have plenty to be hopeful for the future with the 8-year deal. However, they could use at least flashes of him in this game and in this series, because Pete DeBoer said he doesn't have to win the series on his own. He's not going to win this series for us, but 1 or 2 of those Mikko Rantanen moments where, we know what he does, right? The blast one-timer, elite vision, elite skills with the passing the puck, and physical presence protecting the puck. He can really help to tilt the ice a little bit and at least take some of that speed and pressure away that Colorado is so good at bringing the other way. He doesn't have to score 10 goals in the series, but I think 1 or 2 extra flashes from what we've seen can really go a long way with the players that the Stars are missing.
Well, fellas, thank you for working with John to get the technical side of it right. Yes, maybe practice that a couple more times as well. High five with John. Look at that. They're showing off. Enjoy the game. I'll see you over there in a little while, and we will talk for the post-game show right here on DLLS.
See you, boys.
All right, Luds, it's your turn. When you hear all of that stuff, and we're going to get into a lot of details here in a minute, what does Gabe Landeskog, if he does indeed play tonight, which all signs are pointing to that, mean to this game and to the Avalanche?
I think it's huge for the room. I think right now they're bubbling in their room, regardless if he plays 10 minutes tonight or 15 minutes tonight. I think that team has their captain back, and it's very similar, I would imagine, not being there, guys that had to watch Tyler Seguin go through what Tyler Seguin has gone through a couple different times now. How excited they were to have him back in the locker room. Landeskog has done that and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the way Landeskog plays is he plays in more straight lines. He's not going to, not as much east-west. He goes to the front of the net. He does the things on the wall. He's obviously healthy enough to take this step, I don't think that they would be throwing him in at this particular moment, probably because they believe, like this team believes, that they can get to the next round. They can get to the next round. And so do we want to take a chance of having something happen to him early? So I just think the biggest part is the emotion that's in that locker room to watch these guys. I would, if I'm Colorado's TV crew, I'm getting a shot of the bench on his first shift. I think it's going to be all smiles, or they're going to be standing there with their pom-poms.
Up next, we are going to talk about some really interesting stuff that Lud's dialed in and drilled down on between Game 1 and Game 2, hoping maybe to see some changes. We'll talk about it next here on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show.
What's up, Stars fans? Enjoying the game should be easy, so don't overthink it. What to wear? Done. Just put your lucky jersey on tonight. Not sure what to serve your friends? That's even easier. Pick up some pizza and grab some Bud Light to fill up your fridge. See, it's just that easy. Just like Bud Light, which is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, but remember, do it responsibly. 21 and over. Bud Light, St. Louis, Missouri.
Let's talk about Sleeper in just a moment. Oh, boy, it's going to be fun. We're going to get John's picks for tonight, and I always enjoy that part. Sleeper is the best fantasy league platform out there. You can put your puck knowledge to the test, or ball knowledge. It doesn't just have to be hockey. By picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. You can stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time, so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. And now, here's John.
And Sleeper has got another one of those cute little picks on sale going tonight. So we're going to start off with that. And it would be Nathan MacKinnon to record more than 3.5 shots on goal. For the Stars, Rope Hintz is one of the few big names, as Luds is about to go through, who actually got the puck on net a few times. So tonight we're going to go with Rope to record more than 0.5 assists. And Arturi Lehkonen, we're going to go with less than 1.5 shots on goal. Last game, he technically had 2 shots on goal, but one of those was a kick. So unless he does that 2 games in a row, does a kick shot count as a shot on goal, Owen?
If it goes into the net, they have to be. It has to be a shot.
Arturi Lehkonen, as long as he doesn't get any kick shots tonight, he should record less than 1.5 shots on goal. And let's juice the entry a little. Esa Lindell more than 2.5 block shots. $10 wins the people $117.20.
Thank you, John. All right, Luds, let's dig into this. There's a couple of things. I want to start with a clip of Pete DeBoer that you requested, because this is from Sunday's practice. So yesterday, between games 1 and 2, and DeBoer met with the media. They have to be available every day in the playoffs. And he talked about the way the team defended, one of your personal favorite topics of the season. Here's what Pete DeBoer had to say.
I liked big parts of our game. I thought we defended well. The type of defense that, gives you a chance to win playoff games, particularly against a high-octane team like that, and particularly with some of the guys we have out of the lineup. I think there's a formula in there, how we defended last night, that can help us win. We obviously have to create some more offense. So, how do we do that, and how do we get to the goalie a little bit?
I'm interested in that last part too, Luds, how they create some more offense and get to Mackenzie Blackwood. But you smirked at the end of the defense.
Well, I smirked at the word formula. The formula is what I've been complaining about all year long. And John, we did, and I know you don't have them prepared, John, so don't worry about it. We were going to show some clips early in the game last night, or 2 nights ago, where they weren't playing as much man-on-man. It was more about numbers, and there was numbers around the puck in both areas of the ice. And then the big thing that led to, it didn't lead to the spread out, where guys are not taking away the middle of the ice just by design. Now, later in the game, it kind of came apart a little bit, but and Pete had made a comment about that. That happens when you're down a couple goals. It's in the third period. You got to start stretching things out. You're taking chances to catch up. So my only thing about it is, again, pet peeve is like, if you're going to have a formula, then work on the formula all 82 games so that you don't have to make those changes when you get into the playoffs. Now, changes are good and adjustments are good. And I said, that's what the playoffs are all about. They found a way to make an adjustment. It gave them an opportunity to hang around the game. So that's a good thing. That's why I wanted that out there. It was just that I wanted that to be started in game 20 or 30. But again, if they're able to keep that tight form in their own zone where you're not letting things go up through the middle of the ice, awesome.
Okay, now we want to bring up a topic that started with a super chat on Saturday night. Matthew was not happy with the team's even strength shots. As you can see on the other, it was Saturday night post game. This team took 13 shots,
Stan,
5 on 5.
Look at Sam.
Look at me.
He's got that. So what are they talking about right now?
He looks confused. I look like I'm about to use some marionettes on string puppets or something. In all respect, Owen, this team cannot compete in an offensive slugfest. And I was saying that the Stars very much can. They do have the offensive firepower. Using the example of one game does not make a full or paint a full picture of what we're talking about. But Luds, you said that really started to annoy your brain and had to go into some research.
Soon as you read it,
yeah,
I started going, really? And I started thinking about it, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I'm talking about for the last day and a half.
Yeah.
So I went back this morning and I watched. I'm like, how does a dude know there's 13? Well, I found the 13 that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And John, we took little clips of them. But the problem is,
good chance here.
Yeah, here's Rupe, right? And this is the very first chance of the game, right? And it was a breakaway up the middle of the ice. There's one. Now, here's the next chance that we're talking about.
These are shots, not necessarily
these are
good.
But these are not
chances.
quality scoring
Right.
chances. This is my point.
Well, the first one was.
That's what we'll get there. Okay, you got your cookie.
I did.
It's out of the way. Here's Wyatt. Here's the next chance that they got that hit the net 5-on-5. Next one is Dadonov on a little wraparound that barely made it to the net. There's your next chance 5-on-5. Then it's Hintz again from over here. This was a shot from distance. I don't know if you marked it down as quality.
Nope.
Okay, good. And then after this one here is Duchesne. It's on a little tiny rebound that was laying there and really didn't even get much of it. Okay, the next, and here's now these next four. This is our fourth line. So this is Maverick with the shot, right? Or is this CC? It may have started with CC. Okay, this is Maverick.
That's before the CC one.
The next one is going to be CC. Then there's a steal.
That was a good chance.
Yeah. Well, but look at where they are. They're inside, right?
They're in the low
they're
slot.
Getting pucks there. And then there's Bork again, right here. Now this is our fourth line. All right, that's the fourth line. Then we go back to, I believe it's a steal chance. Now we're getting out, again, these are not high danger chances anymore. Okay, that first group was. And then we go back to Bork again, which was a tip shot. That one, that was Marchment there with a shot from the side. Blocker saved. Then there was the shot that came from Steele, I believe it is, and Maverick's in a good spot. That's the tip shot. Here's the Marchment shot. I don't know if we're calling this high danger or quality, but it ended up being a blocker one.
It's a scoring chance. It's not a high danger chance.
Yeah, and then it's Lyubushkin. There are your 13 shots, 5-on-5. Is there one more?
Oh, that's the one where Rantanen deferred to Petro.
Okay, the reason this is on here is look at where our two guys are and look at how they defend. There's four guys in front of the net. This shot made it to the net, but there was no rebound.
If there's
nothing. There's ifs and buts and candy and all this other kind of stuff. There's not. So that's your 13 shots. Okay, so that's not good enough against this team. You have to get more interior. So then it started. I'm trying to start thinking about the lines and I want to talk about the Rantanen. Sam talked about Rantanen.
Yes.
Okay, so Mikko had his kumbaya dinner in Denver with these guys when they went. He had that thing.
Middle of March.
The whole let's get my friends and all this stuff out of here. Then they
did some airing of grievances, I think.
Sure, whatever you want to call it. Then you have game one here in the playoffs, right? You got that out of the way. You're playing against your buddies in game one in the playoffs, different than a regular season game. It's over. It's done. You signed a $80 million deal. You're now a Dallas Star. It's time for you to get pissed off, and you can be buddies with these guys golfing this summer. But he has to start playing. He has to bring out what he does. He has to go to the net. He uses his size. All these other things they talk about when he was in Colorado. Yeah, he was playing with Nate McKinnon. Great. He was playing 23, 24 minutes a game. So here you go.
He's not playing 23, 24 minutes.
He's not playing
a
that.
game.
So here's your 5-on-5. This is offensive zone stuff. Do we got to go to a break before you get into this?
You're doing
okay. So
you're
this
doing
is
really
the
well.
offensive and defensive zone stuff that I looked at today, and it's about possession time and how much time you spend in the zone, and it's all 5-on-5. So the Duchesne line, we know who's on that line. Their offensive zone time is 43%. Okay, they spend the time there, 36 in their own D zone. Pretty good.
And then the rest of that is the neutral zone?
Yeah, neutral.
Okay.
And this is all 5-on-5 again. No power play stuff. Then you get to the Wyatt Johnston line, okay? 37% in the offensive zone, 38% in their own zone. Then you get to the Steele line, which was last night was Bork and Beck. 38% in the offensive zone, 42% in the defensive zone. Get it? We haven't talked about Hintz now, have we? Because Granlund, Hintz, and Dodonov are 33% in the offensive zone and 46% in this zone back here. So
when the percentage
what
of
I'm
D
saying
zone
is
is
what
higher
what
than
has the
offense,
strength been of this team over the last couple of years? Why do they do well?
running 4 lines, balancing minutes,
Depth?
getting up the ice,
Okay.
depth.
I said this before the playoffs started. Hintz needs somebody to play with. Why not take Rantanen and put him up there? Let's get 2 lines. I don't care how you fix it. I don't care if you put Wyatt on the wing and put Hintz there. Right now, you don't have
What
3
did you
lines
think
going.
about Johnston, Rantanen, and Ben in game 1? Because I don't know if they were that great.
They weren't. You don't notice them. That's my point. First off,
Because
Rantanen,
at least the Hintz line, I noticed a couple plays with Dodonov, Granlund making that pass to get Hintz going, a couple of chances. Okay, yeah, but it wasn't a 0.
but it's Hintz that needs the help up there.
Okay.
Granlund, you didn't hear Granlund's name mentioned in any of these 5-on-5 things.
When we were
'cause he's not
talking
in there.
about the shots off the air, you didn't mention Granlund.
He's not in there. He's not there. I did my 13. He's not there. So my point is I think if you want to get back to what you believe in your identity, the guy that's the moose, the guy that is the playoff guy, I don't know if he's in the right spot. I'm saying Wyatt, yes, and I'm almost taking Jamie out of the equation. But what I'm saying is I think if you get Hintz up there somehow, I don't know what the combination would be. And do you break up and do you put Duchesne and put Duchesne someplace, with up there with Hintz and maybe put Dodonov or I'm talking about Rantanen over there. But those 6 guys, there has to be at least 2 lines that you're afraid of. And I don't think we have that right now. That's my point, is I think Rantanen now has to play. His playoff minutes are 23, 24 minutes a night. He's playing 18.
Yeah.
Give him a chance. I mean, and I get it. People are down him. He had 2 shots last game, I believe it was, on the power play. That's all he had. So that opportunity there, you saw him set up Petro on that one. He's a great passer. But I think you have to give him an opportunity, more of an opportunity to go be the guy that you sign him up to be.
Okay, there's 2 things I want to ask you about. One is about defensive time usage, and one is special teams. You just addressed and sort of hinted at both. With the usage of Rantanen, we talked about the numbers. No Dallas Stars forward played over 20 minutes. In fact, they were all in that 12 to 18 to 19 or so minutes the other night. Stars defensively, Bischel and Petrovic both played about 12 minutes of time during game 1. They were both -2. Obviously not great. The other 4, Harley, 27-34, Lindell, 22 even, Lyubushkin, 21-37, and this is all situations, not just even strength. And Ceci was 18-56. Should we expect to continue to see those top 4 minutes-wise get the bulk of the work with Bischel and Petrovic playing 12 or 13 minutes?
I think you have to, because they're the veteran guys that have played most playoff games. And again, it wasn't that the other 2 guys were bad. There was a 3-on-2 we broke down that needed to be played differently on that. It wasn't. I don't think that was a big game changer. I mean, I don't know how you don't. You have to play those guys. I mean, you have to get the most out. Harley's minutes are because of the power play. He probably played close to 5 or 6 minutes on the power play.
Especially with the 4-minute double minor where they use their timeout.
Yeah, and Essa, Essa's minutes are up there because he killed a 5-on-4, and then he killed a 5-on-3, and he's out there. And that's not even big minutes for Essa. 22 minutes, I think you said. Those aren't big minutes.
22 for Essa is very normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think those are big minutes. Here's the deal. I said this after the game the other night. I think I might have said it after the show the other night. I don't know. But this is the game. And Sean made a comment there. I don't think he said something about the urgency level or whatever. It's everything is this game. I don't care what anybody else says. You pour everything into this game. If you've got a double shift Rantanen all night long to win this game tonight, then that's what you do. You don't You do not want to lose this game.
Yeah.
This could be a series-changing thing, and I'm talking about for Dallas. They need to come out of here. I know last year, well, let's bring up Vegas. This is a different animal. This team is a different. They're put together differently. They're harder, I believe, to play against. I mean, you know what McKinnon played? 26 minutes.
Yeah.
He can do it.
That's normal for him.
Yeah, and it was normal for Rantanen. He played with him. Give him more minutes. Let's let him be the guy that we all know that he has been. Yes, he's not playing with McKinnon, okay? And I would love to see him chop McKinnon and show it to the team. Like, I'm here for you guys now.
Going
I'm ready
after
to
his
win.
old
That's why
buddies.
Moose Mode is here tonight. I want to see Moose Mode. But I need you to give him the opportunity and play him. I think you can play him with the Wyatt and Jamie, and then go ahead and throw him in on the fourth line or throw him in on the top line. Give him a shift on the left side. Move Wyatt over. However you want to do it, you wear this guy out in tonight's game. You'll get 48 hours to rest.
Lastly, because we are just about out of time, what about the argument on the other side? You talk about double shifting and getting your big guys more ice time. What about the argument that when McKinnon, when Makar, when Nichushkin, when they're not on the ice, the Stars feel they have an advantage?
But they're always on the ice.
They're on a lot, but they're not on for 60 minutes.
So what are you going to do? What are you worried about?
I'm not worried about it. I'm asking you, do you think that the Stars' belief that when they have the better matchups, meaning when McKinnon has to go off the ice, right, that they think that their depth is better than the Avalanche depth?
They haven't shown it. They haven't shown it. And I think that McKinnon can play like that. Here's the bad news for me. Nichushkin and Makar were not Nichushkin and Makar in last game. Makar will be better tonight. And he had 10 attempted shots. He only hit the net once. That's a bunch
of misses.
That's going to bother him.
Yep.
So he'll be better tonight. Val, to me, was invisible. I just think you're going to see a different guy tonight, which is a problem for Dallas. But it's okay. You got to beat the guys that you got to. They're going to be better when they get there.
Turn that over now. Which guys for the Dallas Stars that you weren't impressed with, and maybe there's more than a few, that you think you just said Makar and Nichushkin, you think you're going to see a different level? Are there guys for Dallas that you didn't think were good enough that could show a higher level tonight?
Yeah, I think Duchesne's line can for sure. And because they were good on the power play, right? That's where we notice them. I just said it. They have to be, and again, playoffs are generally about goaltending, special teams.
Yes.
But a 5-on-5 goal or two of them may tilt the game one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, to me, they have to, and that's why if you have to skip your fourth line and to get three lines rolling and you see some momentum coming from that, then you have to skip the fourth line. But you've got to find whatever it takes. You have to win this game tonight. End of story.
You heard it here first, folks. Moose Mode has been turned on. Let's see if it works. Big game tonight over at American Airlines Center. Game 2 with the Avalanche leading 1-0 in the best-of-7 first-round series. Luds, John, myself,
Bing bang.
Sean, and Sam will all be here for our post-game show. And look at that. We can't go anywhere because we got Super Chats. Let's go.
Couple quick
Ardell.
ones.
John, are we even allowed to play the Slutty Milkshake drop for a win
Well,
tonight?
you just said it, so I guess that counts.
See,
but
and
we
it
are on
wasn't me-
pregame. We are not streaming
It wasn't
anywhere.
me this
He
time.
put it on the screen.
Hold on, Luds. Shh.
It's a Lud
Slutty
Slug.
milkshakes.
There we go.
Bing bang.
Reed Thomas with a Haskin in 99. When Luds' notebook comes out, that's when you know you're about to get the Stars gospel.
Bing bang.
Marshall
Bible.
first, that's the dad, with a Madonna 99. Give me Wyatt as the X factor who can carry us to higher levels tonight and in the series. He's one of the guys I was talking about of who can you see flip that level higher.
I said in one of our little, what do you call them, little short video things, I thought Rantanen and Wyatt. I thought Wyatt was the guy.
There you have it. Enjoy the game. We'll see you afterwards for the post game here on DLLS.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.